What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. We got some major news coming out here from the White House because the question here is how involved will the U.S. get with the Israel Hamas Gaza war? And how involved will Iran and Hezbollah get? Because Hezbollah has up to 100,000 troops, and will the US get involved? Iran is not happy because the US and Qatar agreed not to release Iran's $6 billion. So remember here that the US State Department said that $6 billion was untouched. President Joe Biden administration had been facing bipartisan pressure to make sure Iran would not be able to access the money from a U.S. prisoner swap. And it has been confirmed that the money is still there. The money was transferred to Qatar, and now they have said that it will not be released to Iran. Iran had to make several steps to be able to access the money, and now they are not going to release the money, which further angers Iran. Iran, who funds Hezbollah up to 100,000 troops, who could further enter the war. Remember here, as I previously reported, Hezbollah has already had at least one series of attacks on the Israeli military. Okay, so there has already been one series of attacks on the Israeli military from Hezbollah, and Hezbollah has taken responsibility for these attacks. This does not necessarily mean that they will be fully involved in the war. If they are, these up to 100,000 troops against Israel would obviously mean a significant, army against Israel. Here's what the U.S. has to say about Iran's statements here against them. Take a listen here.
All right, we're following this breaking news out of the White House moments ago. A senior official responding to that statement made by Iran's foreign minister out of Qatar. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez is at the White House for us. Gabe, talk us through this because, Iran really kind of is the outlier here, how, in fact, they will get involved, if they will get involved. And we've seen the foreign minister making the rounds, first to Lebanon, making a statement in Beirut after meeting with the leader of Hezbollah, there, and then meeting with the leader of Hamas in Qatar as well. So what are we learning this afternoon coming out of the White House?
Hey there, Yasmin. Well, certainly. This is a very fine line that the administration is trying to walk here, not trying to provoke Iran, but also trying to deter Iran. That's why the senior White House official said that the Biden administration has sent those two carrier strike groups to the region. But I want to read for you this statement from the Iranian foreign minister a little earlier today saying, quote, if the Zionist aggression is not stopped, the hands of all parties in the region will be on the trigger. Now, this White House official who I just spoke with said that we haven't seen any specific indication that Iran is trying to deepen or widen the conflict. This official making the point that the relationship with Iran has, of course, been tense now for many years, and that the administration made it clear that they don't want to see other actors in the region, not just Iran, but also its proxy Hezbollah, trying to exploit this situation in Israel. But certainly a lot of eyes on any response from Iran. That statement, that very strong statement from the Iranian foreign minister, raising a lot of eyebrows this morning, Yasmin.
I'm just curious as to how they are so confident they don't see evidence or intelligence now suggesting that Iran is trying to widen this conflict, considering it seems somewhat of a direct threat here from the Iranian foreign minister, as they full well know this is going to get worse, as one of my guests said yesterday, before it gets worse, i.e. the ground invasion is coming.
Look, and the White House has been trying now for several days since this conflict began, since this Hamas attack happened a little over a week ago. Despite the reports that Iran, may have greenlit this operation, the White House and National Security Council has been steadfast in saying that they don't see any direct evidence of Iran being specifically involved in the planning of this operation. But you do hear White House officials say that they are broadly complicit. That's the word they have used because Iran has funded Hamas for so long. And so certainly the White House is trying to walk that fine line and trying not to make more of these comments from the Iranian foreign minister, not to make more hay of them than they need to. But at the same time, they are very watching this situation very closely, and that is why they have sent more military resources to the Eastern Mediterranean to send that message that countries like Iran or other actors like Hezbollah, they're warning them not to get involved as they scramble to try and prevent this conflict between Israel and Hamas from spiraling into a wider conflict across the Middle East, Yasmin.
Honestly, the U.S. could directly be involved in what they call a hot war with Hamas and or Iran within a matter of hours. So this could escalate to that. It's very possible. Let's be realistic here. What could happen? They have sent aircraft carriers, U.S. military troops, thousands of troops. There is Americans dead there. There are Americans hostages there. This is a very real possibility. In fact, take a listen to what U.S. National Security Director Jake Sullivan has to say here, and you can let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Thank you for being here on a busy day. So, Jake, let's just dive right in. Overnight, the State Department confirmed the deaths of 29 U.S. citizens in this conflict. Can the U.S. say whether any U.S. citizens have been killed inside Gaza?
We can't confirm that at this time, Kristen, but we are working actively to determine the fate of Americans in Gaza, both those being held hostage, and we are also working actively to try to help American citizens who want to leave Gaza have safe passage out through the border crossing with Egypt. It has been difficult to execute that operation to facilitate their passage out. We are continuing to work that, and President Biden has put a team on it around the clock because it's a high priority for us to be able to get American citizens out of Gaza. It is also his highest priority to secure the safe return of those Americans being held hostage by the brutal and vicious terrorist group Hamas. And we are working multiple angles to try to make that happen, but I'm cautious about what I can say publicly on it.
Jake, I want to ask you about both. Let's talk about the efforts to get citizens out. The UN says evacuating civilians to the south is, quote, impossible and potentially calamitous. Realistically, Jake, where are people supposed to go? Are they not trapped inside Gaza at this point?
The critical thing from our perspective is that there be safe places for civilians to go that will not be subject to military bombardment, where they can be safe physically and where they can have access to the essentials, to food, water, medicine, shelter. The many, many Palestinians who have had nothing to do with the brutal terrorist organization Hamas, the vast majority of the population of Gaza, they deserve dignity, they deserve safety and security, and the United States is working with the United Nations, with Israel, with Egypt, with Jordan, and with other organizations to try to ensure that.
And just to be very clear, has anyone, U.S. citizen or otherwise, been able to leave Gaza?
So far, we have not been able to get American citizens through the border crossing, and I'm not aware of anyone else being able to get out at this time, though I cannot fully confirm that because it's a dynamic situation. Like I said, we're trying to create the circumstances where American citizens who are in Gaza and are looking to leave to get into Egypt and ultimately to the United States or elsewhere, that they are able to do so. We're working on that as we speak.
Jake, did the U.S. ask Israel to delay its ground offensive so that you and Egypt can try to secure the safe passage of civilians?
First, I'm not going to get into our private conversations with the Israelis, but we are not interfering in their military planning or trying to give them instructions or requests specific to their military planning. What we are doing is saying privately what we've said publicly, which is that all military operations should be conducted consistent with the law of war, that civilians should be protected, that civilians should have a real opportunity to get to safety, and that civilians, again, who have nothing to do with Hamas, because Hamas is a brutal, vicious, savage terrorist group. It does not represent or reflect the will of the Palestinian people, that civilians get access to food, water, medicine, and shelter, and we are working hard on that. It is a key priority for our president.
I know you don't want to get into private conversations, but I don't hear a denial. I mean, can you deny that you asked Israel to hold off on its ground offensive?
Well, Kristen, as I just said, we are not making requests or demands of Israel with respect to its military operations. We are simply stating our basic principles, the principles upon which this country is based, and all democracies, including Israel, are based. It's what makes us different from the terrorists. And that, in fact, we respect civilian life. But I will tell you, we did not say to them, you've got to do this or that with respect to the specifics of the specific operational planning for the military operation.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, there is major world firepower there in the area. 2 U.S. aircraft carrier strike groups in the area around Israel and Iran. The United Kingdom has warships, aircraft carriers, and a force of Royal Marines there as well. And the U.S. also has another aircraft carrier in South Korea as North Korea threatened nuclear strikes because of the U.S. sending a aircraft carrier there in South Korea, as things are getting heated all over the world. Yes, Iran, North Korea, China, and Russia are all threatening the United States with war at this particular moment. So you guys can let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I will keep you up to date here. New videos come out here every day on our YouTube channel at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure to subscribe down below. Click the bell icon so you don't miss out on any new videos. It's completely free to do so. Also, thanks for liking and share these videos with anybody that needs to hear this, or on Facebook, Twitter, or social media. Click here to see the game changer that just happened in Israel, or click here to see the war warning that China just sent to the U.S. Click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.